Good morning, everyone. I'm one of the hundreds of carbon farmers in Finland and an educator in regenerative carbon farming. And in next quarter hour, I will take you into the practice of carbon farming and also scratch agricultural policy a little. In Carbon Action Pilot, there is 100 carbon farmers that are educated by top advisors and soil scientists. Farmers are learning from their peers in small groups and applying their learnings to practice in their farms. This is a great example of farmer-led research where farmers are participating in study design. In the trial setup, farmers has 3-hectare field divided into a trial plot and a control plot, and in a trial plot they are adopting one chosen carbon farming measure, and in a control plot continuing as usual. Because of a tight research setup, an interesting observation has been made that farmers are applying and stacking several carbon farming measures in their farm outside the trial plot and leading actually a higher carbon sequestration outside the trial. And that is of course positive and very motivating for farmers. And in addition, 20 farms is intensive research carried out to understand soil carbon dynamics and gather data for model development like Jari just told. Interest among farmers and also in public has been enormous, so we put up a Carbon Action Club, which is open for everyone interested in carbon farming, and in the club experts and carbon farmers are sharing their knowledge in an understandable way. Carbon and regenerative farming can be described by these three main principles. Maximizing plant growth means maximizing photosynthesis in a place and time, and it's made by healthy plants, healthy diverse crops with high leaf area throughout the year, even and especially now after the harvest season. Microbes are maximized through plant root exudates, like I just told, and also feeding them with decomposable organic material like organic fertilization or soil improvement. And maximizing cover means minimizing disturbance, both mechanical and chemical, meaning minimizing silts and minimizing pesticides. To simplify even more, plants and microbes sequestrates the carbon. According to current understanding, long-lasting soil carbon consists of entombed microbes. So key is to take care of soil health and microbial diversity and activity in soil. This picture is from my carbon action trial plot, where we do trial continuous crop cover versus conventional plowing. And I already do see the results. More in practice, carbon farming looks like this. Most of these examples are also from our farm, which is actually located in the southeastern Finland. Carbon farming, it's diverse crop rotations with annual and perennial crops, spring sown and winter sown crops, mixed and multi-species crops, cover crops. So very versatile system in way. It is balanced fertilizing, organic fertilization, organic soil improvement, and carbon farming is minimum tillage. In this picture, in the middle, on the right side, you see terminating perennial lay with minimum tillage methods. Even that is possible on our clay soils. So plowing is not needed. Carbon farming is agroforestry. This picture below, that's from the Stephen Briggs farm from the UK. Agroforestry is also in small scale adopted in Finland. In the middle, in the low, that's direct drilling from our ongoing trials. And on the corner, carbon farming is also integrating animals, especially ruminants, and especially rotational grazing, like here. That is from one of our carbon farmers, Joona Jahkola. So you see that carbon farming is a very holistic approach to farming, like there was a question already, and in harmony with nature, not against it. With these practices, I and many of my colleagues have already achieved better productivity and profitability comparing to input-intensive conventional farming. So it really works. Its best, carbon farming is multi-beneficial for the farmer, for the environment, and for the society. These practices can improve productivity, decrease emissions, and ensure the food production in a changing climate. Nevertheless, in a bad economical situation, farmers are cautious with changes and investments. And to adopt carbon farming, farmers need incentives to invest in knowledge and technology. This should be supported by common agricultural policy, for example through ecoschemes and advisory. Other income for carbon farming can come from the carbon markets. But in this case, there is anyway a requirement of additionality. This means that carbon sequestration should happen only as a result of a payment. Having mentioned the multi-beneficiality of the carbon farming, the additionality can be ambiguous. This can be tackled by setting the baseline at the level of soil organic carbon where other benefits decrease. This is a bit complicated, but I guess we will come to this discuss later. Having said that, supporting carbon farming through CAP and market, they don't have to clash. It's possible to suit them together. As a farmer and also a taxpayer, I would like to have seen more climate and environmental ambition on Parliament's decisions on CAP voted last week. I see direct payments capitalizing in the price of arable land and passivating farmers to ignore soil health, their most valuable resource. More ambitious conditionality, result-based approach, and incentivizing farmers to regenerative farming would ensure the opportunities for future farmers. Now it is crucial to ring-fence funding for eco-schemes and make sure the measures suggested in member states' strategic plans are sufficient, they are multi-beneficial and effective. Derogation should not be allowed, even to the strong Pillar 2. In this picture, you can see how soil health and aggregate stability affects runoff water quality. On the left side, you see a soil sample from annual crops monoculture with bad soil health, leading runoff and particles and phosphorus and nutrient runoff, and also carbon runoff. On the right side, there's a clear water from soil sample from a healthy soil from a diverse crop rotation field. A concrete example of carbon farming measure suitable for common agricultural policy, especially eco-scheme, is continuous crop cover, in particular when it was removed from conditionality. Continuous crop cover outside the harvest season is easily adapted and produces several benefits. It can be carried out by cover crops with grasslays or winter crops. So several possibilities. And continuous crop cover is especially important for soil and water courses in changing climate and rainy winters, what we have seen lately. In this picture you see our cereal rye with some buckwheat as a companion crop. Looking good. And as an environmental measure, continuous cover cropping can be implemented through result-based, where controlling can be carried out cost effectively by Sentinel-2 satellite. Sentinel-2 satellite runs over 2 times per week and results in 10 by 10 grid big picture images which can be filtered with different tools. Here you see a crop cover filter utilized. And these images 2 weeks ago. Of course, clouds are disturbing imaging, but this was a clear day. And these yellow and green colors means crop cover with lay or cover crops or winter crops, and they are from our farm. And this plowed bare soil, red one, is from neighboring farm. So very clear differences, easy to control. And in this possible measure, a precise cover index for a certain period could be set, and that could be controlled by Sentinel. And this represents a result-based approach of subsidies that has been Commission's will and can also be effective and simple for the farmer. Other carbon farming elements to support are, for example, crop rotation, which should be taken account in conditionality, and, for example, recycling of organic materials and nutrients, and biodiversity measures, which can be in the incentivized through Pillar 2 measures. Since the Green Revolution, farming has heavily leaned on chemical inputs, and soil health has been ignored. Now it is the last goal to get in the region farming. Farmers are really keen to learn because many of them are facing problems with profitability and management of farming due to climate change. As a farmer, I would really like to see a paradigm shift in agriculture and its policy, at least signs of it. We should consider what kind of a message common agricultural policy is delivering for the farmers who are planning their future in a changing environment. Thank you for your interest. I'm open to your questions.
Yes. Thank you, Juuso, for very clear presentation. As we had earlier a question about holistic management, would you like to tackle that question?
Yeah, I'd like to. Carbon farming and regional farming is very holistic approach to farming. It's about finding the limiting factors and tackling them one by one, and by that solving the soil problems, for example. It all starts from the soil that we have a sample with us, of course, and you can, for example, control soil health by having a test like this. It's good.
It's good. Great, thank you. And then I go to the Twitter because we have good discussion going on Twitter. I think Emilia Hannula is raising a good question that she has learned in EU projects is that different soil improving cropping systems are relevant needed in different parts of Europe, and farmers in different parts have different problems and hence need different solutions.
Well, I agree. That is through different solutions, and that like I gave you an example of cover cropping, which is a result-based approach to supporting farming. So instead of management and measure-based subsidizing like we've done mainly thus far, it would be more effective to have result-based approach, so to set the targets for the farmers, and then they can find the solutions suitable for their environment and for their farm, for their conditions. And those three main principles I presented of the regenerative farming and carbon farming are very suitable for every situation, and by maximizing photosynthesis, microbes, and minimizing disturbance and utilizing them would be relevant.
And then we have very specific questions. What are the actual results you have seen in increase of SOM, soil organic matter?
Of course, the changes in soil carbon storage are very slow, but at first farmers, including me, we notice when we apply carbon farming methods, improved soil health by better nutrient and water holding capacity, for example, better aggregate stability, less runoff, better workability, and several. They are stacking, and when we apply different methods and different soils, it really is seen by an eye, and like we see from the soil sample as well.
And like last winter,
Yeah.
here in Finland, it was raining water
Yeah.
throughout the winter.
Yeah, it was
the
very
southern
clearly
Alps.
observed in last spring. Those fields that were crop covered were much more easily worked and cultivated in spring than those that were bare soil. In Finland, we do still have some frost left, which helps a lot of workability of the clay soils, but that's not common in Southern Europe, and also missing in here up here in future. So we cannot rely on the frost. So crop cover is very easy method.
And I still, because it's such an excellent question, I still take one. Does carbon farming require specific investments or equipment?
Well, not really. Of course, some of them, for example, to minimum tillage or some cultivating methods, it's mainly investing on knowledge and expertise. That's the main thing. And with equipment, cooperation with the farmers is very recommendable to use.
Thank you. I think that we can continue discussion
Yes.
later.